Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another GI interview. And let me tell you, we got a special one today. I am Alex Stadnick, and I am joined by Joel Zimmerman, who you may know as Deadmau5, the one and only. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hi. How are you? Good. I'm well.
Good. Glad to hear it. I think we all should aspire to that in these days, right?
Well, yeah. Wellness is good.
Well, wellness is
adequate.
Good. Yeah. We are also joined by Jordan Maynard, co-founder, chief creative officer of Manticore Games, which is responsible for core games. Is that correct, sir?
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. How are you today?
I am very well, thank you.
Good. I see you're rocking something in the background there. That's very unique. I feel like people usually don't go the gaming route in these interviews, but I like it.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then, of course, the queen of games. You love her. You know her. Leanna Rupert is here.
What's up? I am doing okay. Turns out I'm all right at being mediocre.
Oh, wow.
Adequately mediocre.
That's very mediocre. Real. Yeah. Well, gentlemen, you have a new project here today that you'd like to share with us, correct?
Nah.
No? We just came to chill?
Yeah.
Well, that's the interview wrap. Let's go.
All right. Getting on my jet skis.
There you go. Zoom. Wait, come back.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, we have maybe I'll let Maynard over here take it away on maybe the intro, and then if you guys have any questions, I'll jump in.
Absolutely. So what we're announcing today is called Oberhasli, and it's sort of Joel's brainchild, and it's something that he's been working on and thinking about for almost a year and a half now, maybe more, Joel.
2 or 3 years, yeah.
2 or 3 years. But what it is sort of a virtual world and window into Joel's psyche and his mind, and a place where you can go and hang out. More than just a virtual concert or things like that, it's going to be a living, breathing sort of Deadmau5 verse, you could say, and it's going to be built inside of Core Games, and we can talk about sort of how Core Games enables that. That's what I'm here to talk about, and then Joel can talk a little bit more about his vision for Oberhasli and where he got the name Oberhasli and things like that.
For sure.
I gotta ask, because anytime we talk about Core with our community, there seems to be a lot of confusion over what
I can see why. Yeah.
And there's all these comparisons to what Fortnite is doing, but I feel like Fortnite is a very basic level of the vision here. Can you kind of explain a little bit what Core is?
Yeah, it's a great question. Core is a free to play and free to create platform where anyone with zero programming experience can make their own AAA looking and playing games. What you're actually seeing, if you look behind me on my camera right now, this is actually an entry that we had. We ran a contest last week with Joel where his fans could come in and create worlds based around sort of the idea of a dystopian sort of Deadmau5 universe, right? The one that you're seeing on my screen was actually made by a 19-year-old recent high school graduate who had never made any 3D video game content before.
Wow.
And she did it she downloaded the Core 3 days into the contest, and it was only a 2-week contest. So she did it in 11 days. So Core really allows people to express their creativity in 3D interactive spaces, unlike any other platform has done before, because you really don't need any prior experience or programming.
That's a moment where you realize there's a lot more talented people out there than you are. Holy, that's insane. Yeah.
Well, but yes and no, and not to belittle her efforts and all that stuff too, but it also takes a really great IDE that's so modular that has a lot of content, like just a sea of content, and ways to explore the IDE that would let them get what they want. That's just completely unique. That's not a bunch of prefabs and PUBG houses, So
for sure, yeah,
got 'em.
Yeah,
stuff like that. But and it's really cool. So it's like I did obviously my homework and installed it at one point and looked at their IDE, but coming from about 2 years of whittling away in Unreal's actual IDE, right? And noticed that I'm like, there's some confusion here. Did I just launch the editor of UE and stuff like that? So their editor was really comprehensive and not just like big button
Yeah.
click here to add building, like a building MMO or something like that, where you're just kind of doing that thing. The tools were very on point with the editor. So as a self-proclaimed UE developer, I was very familiar with that, and I was like, okay, wait, this is a good three quarters deep dive into just using UE and C++ as is, right? So there was a lot of, if one were so inclined, you could. You know what I mean? Feelings to, the way that their IDE works. So in a nutshell, I would say Core is Unreal Engine built inside Unreal Engine, as opposed to locking it down to a branded property. And God bless Epic, and amazing what they've done with the Fortnite. Obviously, they did okay. But of course, they wanted to keep their world, their universe, their stylistic, shader, kind of stuff, and keep it all very thematic, while letting people have some level of customization, but locked into that brand. That's a way to do it. You know what I mean? For them, and that's the way they felt that they needed to go in that direction. And they did a great job with that, with their creative mode and stuff like that, because there's only so far you can go. But the thing about Core is that we could say, what do you want? A side scroller, a bird's eye view thing, a first person shooter. It's not like, and those are the three templates. You could really do a lot with Core in terms of styles of games that we're all used to playing, like Diablo versus PUBG versus Rocket League. Those we could pinpoint, on a whiteboard. These are three different genres of game in terms of their mechanic and feel and playability and stuff like that. And you can't do that in Fortnite. Because you're just kind of locked into Fortnite world. So of course, games today kind of more lean towards that 3D environment of the first person shooter or the the third person camera and stuff like that. So yeah, of course, that's mostly what the prominent kind of consensus is when making a 3D environment, because we could make a 3D environment, put it on that kind of bird's eye view thing, and then just kind of scroll the mouse around and see that, just like it's like a fixed camera in Minecraft, so to speak, at a 45-degree angle looking down. And that's you can do that just fine, but 3D environments through an FPS or third person camera crane attached to the player controller is like a lot more digestible to the eye to explore an environment and move around. And I thought they really did a good job of that part of the style of game that they're doing in Core.
I liked the one you just showed is kind of reminded me of like Wave Race. I was like, if this what it would look like if we got a remake.
Ridge Racer.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
So you're talking about like the freedom of this. Like this obviously goes above and beyond. And we've seen that dipped a little bit with games like Dreams. So if it's this much of like an open playground, what are the constraints that players or users are going to see when trying to utilize this?
Yeah, that's a really good question too. And so far, it's a hard one for me to answer, because so far, every time that I've thought there has been a constraint in Core that we're like, we can't do that or we can't do that, our creators have proven us wrong.
Wow.
Right. And it just in ways that I would have never have thought or imagined. As an example, this sort of 3D side scroller, right? Like homage, I guess I would say, maybe to maybe some game with some goblins
and some ghosts, maybe.
Yeah, maybe some ghosts.
Yeah.
But that this kind of thing, like we did not expect our creators to be able to do this. We gave them the tools, and it's pretty easy to set up a side-scrolling camera in Core. But the level of polish that you see here, and the fact that this is multiplayer. If somebody else joined this game right now, we could do this co-op multiplayer. It's hard for me to actually say what the limitations are at this point.
It's not Zombocom.
Yeah, every time I said
it's like
it's
you
been
can
wrong.
do anything. Anything is possible.
It sounds pretty close, though. Like,
yeah.
What you're saying is
it's the closest I personally have found in my whole explorations of, hey, I want to build this thing for me. So I'm just going to be really selfish here and say that, I want Deadmau5 World, and I want it to be its own exe and standalone, and I want to distribute it on a big platform and have all my fans just connect to that so I can showcase my music and this and that, and fuck all this other noise, you know what I mean? But by far, this one was like, this is a really great property, because
So where's Montreal? Sorry.
whatever you're building is going to be so unique from everything else, you know what I mean? It's not like there is some deep diving that core allows you to do that doesn't make you have to rewrite your fucking net code every time you go to do a build or something like that, or the multiplayer stuff, and then you have like all your internal player metadata that carries out throughout the whole system. So whether you're playing like a side scroller, a racing game, or a shooter, or whatever, battle royale, all of that, there are some core fundamental frameworks that what a great name.
Wow.
Core.
Thank you.
And,
You got it. I'm glad you got it.
Carry through, so I'm not like gonna fucking jerk myself off here in front of the interview, but like I really did get my game before even talking to Core almost to a polishable point where I could legitly upload this to Steam. But I'm like, okay, everything's done, it works. Oh my god, I got this. I invented some technology even, and I've been working very closely with a lot of like high up developers at Epic Games and stuff like that on previs and stuff like that from a utilitarian standpoint. Like, I'm a producer, I want a stage previs, so I'm going to help out with this technology, and we're going to cross worlds. So as you can see on the screen there, so I actually built this, but not in Core, but like in Unreal Engine. This is the Core version of it, but and this is my stage. Okay, which cost me in a rehearsal studio $10,000 a day just to fucking get it in, and then turn it on. You need staff; they like to get paid. You know what I mean? And operators and stage. Just it's really fucking expensive to do this. Whether it's live and you got people in there or not, doesn't make a difference. I prefer people are in there to offset the cost of that bullshit, but. So the name of the game it's like, okay, so I'm playing Call of Duty in fucking the late 90s, and I'm like, why the fuck can't I build my stage in there and operate it in real time, because I need instant feedback while I'm testing stuff, because that's how shows work, and I need to develop my show in the virtual world, so I don't have to do this every fucking year before we go out on tour, right? Like, and thank you for building it for cheap, but like, shit, dude. So that was the ultimate need. It wasn't oh, I'm gonna make a video game and it's gonna be it was just that. And then we got it to this point, right? And I was like ready to like I said, take it seriously. My manager and me, of course, obviously we're not idiots. We look at this thing and we're like, this really isn't far from a game. And then he's like, well, what would you do with it? And I'm like, I don't know, but it's not far from a game, like maybe we'll get some game designers to like think of an idea, but fuck, Jesus Christ, this is close. Yeah. And that's where I hit a wall and knocked out all my front teeth, right? Because it's like, okay, yes, I model in 3D. I've been doing it for decades, right? So I know my way around modeling, LODs, texturing, and all that shit. So I can build this static world beautifully in 3D Studio, Maya, whatever, and Unreal, God bless that engine and all the brilliant minds at Epic Games. So it's like I can then take that shit and then kind of port it in and build UE assets and stuff like that, things that work in the game. And so it was not long for me to take the architectural stuff that I've been doing in 3D Studio or whatever, and then bringing it in Unreal, hitting play in the editor, right, and seeing it and being able to walk around it. And then that's what blew my mind. RTX on, volumetric lighting, fucking ray tracing all up the fucking yin-yang. I'm like, shit, holy shit, this is like the best previs I've ever had, right? And I'm like, because it's beautiful, it looks real, it's very physically accurate. And then Epic starts introducing real world show protocols into the engine, like DMX control and stuff like that, which is archaic as fuck, but everybody still uses it, unfortunately. But we just do it over ArtNet now, so it's like better. It's not. But they have all those protocols built in, so I'm like, okay, my stage and all its mechanics are 100% functional in Unreal Engine. I've got the DMX working, the protocols working. Run my show computer, tie all the protocol to the Unreal Engine computer running the program, and I can do a live show. All I need to do now is have multiplayer support. It's just this little thing. Multiplayer support, netcode, the player controller info, all that stuff. And then you're thinking like, well, that's easy because you don't really notice that shit as a gamer. You just assume you're in there. Oh, how hard could it possibly be to connect to my fucking 4 friends? Well, in theory, not really. but you kind of need a delegate server running an instance on a thing, and you need about 400 instances of it just to host like a couple thousand people.
Yeah.
So are you
and you're like,
peer-to-peer?
what?
Are you going to offer peer-to-peer also?
No. This is
dedicated.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I see him nodding his head over there.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So core,
That's a core question.
Yeah, and
Sorry.
no, but it's a very good question. And one of the things, one of the great things about working with Joel is he had sort of hit this roadblock of the multiplayer, and it is very hard to do real-time multiplayer code over the network and stuff like that. Core provides that and provides servers for you out of the box. So with one click, you can publish. So literally on the first day that Joel and I were working together, he sent over some of those assets he had made in Unreal. We put them in Core. I published a server, and he joined, and we had the entire Manticore team sort of hanging out in sort of proto Oberhausley, like literally within the first day.
Yeah.
And that's something that would have taken months for somebody just working in straight Unreal to get, because Unreal is a fantastic.
We're good at it, even if you were good at it.
Yeah,
like.
Yeah, and we love we obviously love Unreal. We're built on top of Unreal 4, like Core is built on top of Unreal 4, so we absolutely love Unreal. But we really think of Core as sort of, I don't know, maybe the correct analogy is YouTube, right? Like what YouTube did for video content creation, Core can do for game content creation. There are people who make a fantastic living now, of course, on YouTube, but they would have never gotten even a cable access TV show, sort of 20 years ago, right? And on Core, we can sort of do the same thing. You could, somebody working alone in their bedroom maybe wouldn't get a Steam deal necessarily, but on Core, they can literally publish to the world just from their bedroom.
So
like OnlyFans. Oh, wait.
Except they stopped doing
R.I.P.
what they're known for.
Yeah.
No comment.
I mean, it's like was OnlyFans.
It was only so okay. So I got a side question, just because I love creating mods. I love writing mods. It's one of my verticals. And a lot of developers, I was kind of surprised to hear that a lot of developers that are hiring for really intricate, like higher level design roles, producing roles, things like that they've actually hired people that have no game experience but just created mods and things. Do you think somebody could make something in this and then
it is a modder's wet fucking dream? That's all it is. You know what I mean? It's just like mod to the point of holy shit, I don't even see anything like this on this platform. And I think Core did a really good job of understanding that all of the best games out there today now are mods.
Yeah.
Like Counter-Strike, PUBG, you name it, have all been like the outlier genius dude who took an idea and made it a million times better. Otherwise, we'd still be in fucking Black Mesa shooting fucking piece of shit crabs. You know what I mean?
And not just the top games, the entire top genres, the entire MOBA genre obviously came out from the mod scene. But the problem has always been how do you commercialize and monetize that mod? And we saw that the rights fight over the Dota license, when they tried when Valve and League of Legends and stuff all happened. So it's really been sort of interesting to watch this happen over the past 15 years and watch the sort of endemic video game publishers, giant publishers, not really understand it, I feel like, and maybe even push it away. Like, right? Like you see people like giving like cease and desists to GTA 5 modders, and you're like,
I hate it when my favorite billionaires fight.
You're like, what are you doing? You have a brand new genre here. GTA RP is a whole new genre. It's an entirely new genre that you guys are just ignoring and pushing away, just like you did with MOBAs back in the day, right? Because it wasn't RTS. So Core sort of took that idea of the modding. We wanted to make that process smoother, and like Joel said, we wanted to make it so that if you have a mod idea, it doesn't take you 10 years to get it to commercial success.
So what I'm also hearing is that there will be no Nintendo crossovers with all the takedowns of mods and creative property.
I don't want to. Obviously, I love Nintendo, and I'm not going to badmouth any company here. But what's really interesting is that there are properties that are forward-looking, right, and really receptive to UGC. Obviously, Joel and Deadmau5 is one of them, and I think it's partially because he grew up as a gamer, like, right, and his fans are
mostly because I control my brand.
And because you control your brand 100%. We Manticore Games earlier or last year, we did a collaboration with Wizards of the Coast, and we did a D&D game jam. And I thought that was a really interesting one, just because if you think about D&D as a property, that's entirely like D&D in the real world is like UGC, like, right? Like you make up those games as you go. And that's all UGC. So bringing that to the digital space, I thought was a really forward-looking thing for Wizards to do.
I didn't know you did that. That's cool.
Yeah. I should show you some of the games. They're amazing.
Yeah.
So let's back this up for a second. Joel, obviously you said this was something you wanted to do since, probably COD 2, right? Like how did we get here with Core, especially like, because, I think a lot of people know about the Fortnite concert you did, right? Like how did we get here? With Core.
To Core?
Yeah, to Core.
Well, again, like I said, it's God bless them. This is not a shit talk at all. But doing going the Fortnite way, and I was happy to play along and be a part of that to some degree and lend them my brand and but that's locked in their universe. It's not really mine. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not saying they had more to gain than I did, because like all of a sudden I'm introducing my fans who, like, let's be honest, like, and I'm gonna be not so fucking kind here, but like a lot of my demographic just don't like Fortnite, you know what I mean? And but they love Deadmau5, and they'll come, I'll install it and fucking just come watch it and then piece the fuck out back to a real game. It's just sorry.
Okay,
right.
Getting a little spicy. I like it. All right.
Yeah. I like it, man. No,
keep it going.
So, but that again, it's like it was so brand heavy and because that's how you do it. Like that is good business. That's how you make a shitload of fucking money for your forward-thinking technologic company, right? Because, and I'm sure Maynard will agree with me, all of the modern game technology in the last probably like 5 or 6 years for Unreal Engine were Fortnite hand-me-downs. It's true. It's a lot of shit. There are versions of Unreal Engine that are internal to Unreal that just are for Fortnite that trickle down into new versions of, so it's like their pilot program really for really cutting edge technology, not like, shooting a guy and he explodes into the fucking Taj Mahal. I mean like actual shader compilers and stuff like that are all being optimized and finessed through their properties, and then and in some cases are trickled down in the engine. Of course they have, it's not all about Fortnite. Fuck no, they have entire divisions of hey, we want Epic, we want Unreal Engine 4 to be a production suite for newsrooms, for creatives who do real-time stuff in their events and stuff like that, which I wouldn't say came from Fortnite, of course not, but a lot of it did. So they're very protective, as they should be, about their brand and where their numbers are, right? Like, don't threaten me with fucking 34 million concurrency at a concert, but that's only because of the brand and the heaviness that they've instilled that in a lot of younger kids or men children. So
and by contrast, sorry, Joel.
Go ahead.
But Bikes, if you think about a Fortnite concert, and if you think about what we're planning to do with Oberhasli, I think the contrast really is, for me, like the Fortnite concert was like one and done, like, right? Like, and it was an event and it was one time and it's sort of gone now, right? But with Oberhasli, it's going to be a persistent and consistent sort of universe and vision into Joel's brain, like, right? Like a window into Joel's brain where you can hang out and his fans especially. And this is so great because, like Joel said, he owns his IP. His fans will be able to make different game modes and mods inside of Oberhasli and connect them through Core. So like if somebody wanted to make a Dig Dugs game featuring the Deadmau5 characters, it's something that could be done inside of Core very easily.
It's right there.
I did kind of want to know though, and this is something that I've been pondering a lot recently. Is we recently interviewed Neil Blomkamp, who did like District 9.
Yep.
And he was talking about,
I love him.
He's a really cool dude. Very cool interview.
Extra, but he's cool.
we delved deep into philosophy. It was my kind of thing. But he was talking about how the film industry is kind of going to have to revamp how they think with the games industry. But he was also saying that in a couple of years, we're going to stop calling them video games and just call them interactive experiences. And this is kind of a good example of that, because it's that hybrid experience. What do you think about the future?
Oh
of
no, he's
his work
spot
and-
on. I actually have had discussions with him, people like him and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
like I said before, I'm a big fan of a guy who used to work at Lucasfilm, a friend of mine from there, and then left there to become one of the C something O with a thing at Epic Games, and he's like the dude. Yeah, he's a VFX artist. He really didn't know a lot about game engines and stuff like that. And then Sweetie took him on and put him and say, hey man, you're the big dog for visual effects. He's like, visual effects, it's a fucking game engine, you know what I mean? I'm sure that question came up like early on in his involvement with Epic Games. And of course, like, birds of a feather and like fuck around together. So it's like, talking with him and the developers, I saw Unreal Engine grow from a video game maker engine to, we shot fucking pretty much all of the Mandalorian with this game engine. So there is, like I said, a division of Epic, of course, and these are my favorite people who like we're making production ready content in a game engine that you can't tell is a fucking a PBR renderer that took a million years in fucking Octane with all these fucking GPU render farms and all that stuff doing glorious things. And guess what? It's real time, so we can do our shots, our color grading, and all that shit in real fucking time. Especially with the advent of XR stages and LED walls for the the AAA look, like the Mandalorian, right? It's all mostly shot on an XR stage, and you're looking at it like on the screen, the final product, and you're going, fuck me, that's unreal, dude. That's like a game engine. So if you had a fuck you like GPU, you could play that game. That, you know what I mean? Like that scene where shit's flying everywhere, or they're in the desert or whatever, you know what I mean? Okay, mind you, there is a little extra fluff added on top of that,
course,
but at its core,
Yep.
it is Unreal Engine. And I was like, I've been a media designer my whole life. It's kind of a weird thing because people are like, oh, you're a fucking DJ. We get it. That's all you started DJing after kindergarten, and now because you're so prolific, that's all you did? No, I've been a multimedia developer, like a programmer and a media artist, motion graphics designer first and foremost. So I have always been in tune with renderers and PBRs and 3D modeling programs, animation suites, and stuff like that aren't necessarily akin to 3D games, but there is a parallel there. And one of the fascinating fucking things that that really fucking made me go, oh, thank God for fucking the future, because I was contracted to do content for the Billboard Awards, because I run a side business, like just Joel, and I get a call. Hey Joel, can you do some content for the Billboard Awards? Because we have all these LED screens and and shit. Because of COVID, we're running fucking tight. We got to get this fucking content done. And I love a good challenge, and not to say that, oh yeah, sure, $5 is $5, I'll do it. But they only had about 2 or 3 weeks for me to produce probably about 20 minutes worth of rendered content that is 8K this way, 4K that way, 4K that way on this big, actual stage that they did out in LA. And of course, first thing through my head, I'm like, fuck no, dude. Like, you know how long that's going to take to fucking render? So, and then I'm on the phone with Rebus Farms and all these render farms. I'm like, yo, can I get like fucking 48 nodes for like a week straight? And they're like, eh. And then I had been also at the same time working on early versions of Oberhasli on my personal time. And I was like, wait. Why don't I do this fucking Unreal Engine? You know what I mean? So because it's good, but not like I would prefer to render it in fucking Arnold for 20 years. But hey, man, sometimes you just got to get the fucking job done, and it has to look good. So the first client was St. John. He's like some rapper dude. He's a really cool dude, and he's like, hey man, I want a skeleton riding a fucking motorcycle, and then the motorcycle's on fire. Immediately, my head goes, oh, fuck. Like, okay, so I gotta do this in Cinema 4D. You know what? I'm just gonna download some models of a skeleton and models of a motorcycle, plop them in, and then render it out, and then I'll just use I don't know, combustion or whatever for the fire effect or something like that. But honestly, so what I ended up doing really is I went to fucking Turbo Squid, found some licensed models for a skeleton and a motorcycle, and I had to do some little finessing in Cinema 4D, and then I imported in an Unreal Engine and converted all the texture data and all that stuff, and then I was like, moving the camera around the motorcycle, I was like, that's the actual shot. That's the render. And it's running at 60 FPS, you know? And then I'm like, and then I go into more Unreal Engine and their marketplace and stuff like that. And I find some like fire particle effect systems and stuff like that. And I just like kind of attach it to the bike, like, yeah, okay, it's on fire. And, you know, and then, you know, with some camera movements and stuff like that, I legit had this fucking badass skeleton with dreads driving down this fucking highway, and it was all Unreal Engine, and it was running in real time. I didn't have to render a single fucking shot. You know what I mean? It was just like I could just literally hit screen record and do that. But Unreal Engine, thank fuck, added in a rendering option where you could render this out. And of course it's going frame by frame, tick, 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 tick. But for a PBR, like Octane or Redshift or whatever, for that to do every single frame, and you know, you kids love your video games running at 120 frames a second or fucking whatever, right? For every single frame, it took me about 20 minutes for one frame to go down the PBR. It looked ungodly, it looked real, but it took 20 minutes for one frame. And I'm watching this thing fluidly go through the whole shot list in real time at 60 frames a second. It looked gorgeous. And then I just go into the fucking, you know, the movie render queue in Unreal, and I say, okay, render that, but at 16K. And then it just went, wow. And I was like, this is what video games will be. You know what I mean? Yeah. Of course, not at 1 FPS, but we'll get there. You know what I mean? Look at where we were 10 years ago. And so Core, again, is acting off this technology. So the guys at Core are keeping up with the versioning and the new cool particle systems, Niagara, and all these wait, are you guys using Niagara?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. All right. You know,
good to check. Good to check.
Wait. Yeah. I was like, are you guys still using that old fucky particle system from fucking 2019? No, anyway. So the Core is really, really reliant on Unreal Engine. It's built on Unreal Engine. So it is Unreal Engine on top of Unreal Engine, but done in such a way that literally anybody can do what I did without the drama of going to Turbo Squid and doing conversions and being a smart little fucking genius that I am, and you know, and then getting it in the engine and using the render queue. So that for video games is Core in a nutshell. If anyone asks, just tell them what I just told you.
There's that. That's the highlight reel right there.
I'll remember that.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing.
I rant. I love a rant.
I love it though. I mean, our viewers are gonna love it because it's very clear you're passionate. It's very clear, Maynard, you're passionate. And, you know, this is something as the gaming industry trumps the film industry. It's growing at a rate that it's really kind of hard to see where the trajectory is going to go. And this is kind of making it more accessible, too, for kids that are getting interested in this. Like, yeah, I do want to make games when I grow old. You know what I mean? Like, this is...
They do it when they're young. That's the point. Hey, have you ever seen, Minecraft? Kids are. Okay, I actually saw this. I witnessed this. This blew my mind and made me mad at the same time. Ooh. A kid built a working compiler, like a rudimentary compiler, but a compiler nonetheless, which is not really like a no-brainer, a rudimentary, like, oh, everybody learned this in school. He built a computing compiler inside of Minecraft. And as blown away as I was, because like I get the idea of a compiler, but I wouldn't know where to start on how to make my own original one with my own language. Yeah. And this kid did it, and it's like some 7-year-old kid's like, okay, so I'm going to change this register. It's going to turn left when I get onto the platform, and the redstone goes to the, to the other register that turns the red way to make a positive bit. And he's just going on like, I mean, he didn't talk like that. That's just my Minecraft voice. Yeah. Anyway, he fucking, and he's explaining how a compiler works, but and he's built it in Minecraft, and I'm like, bro, just learn C++. Like, do this in Unreal. Do that, and you can make a fucking game. You know what I mean? Why are you making a game in a game? You know what I mean? Like, when you're it's actually harder to do that than it would be to open up Visual Studio, open up fucking Unreal Engine, or whatever engine, or make your own fucking engine, because it sounds like you can at this point. You know what I mean? And focus on those creative tools, because, and this is where I might get in shit, but now we don't have to rely on being owned and operated and stuck in a brand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you own and control your shit.
Yep.
And the beautiful thing, I'm learning more and more about every day. I'm not 100% there yet because lawyers are still beating each other up. But from my understanding, Core is working on the principle that creators have control. So creators can monetize, creators can give it away, creators can do what they want because it's their fucking baby, you know, within certain fucking weird things. But
Certain
you know what I mean?
parameters, yeah.
I'll let Maynard touch on that.
Well, I mean, so yes, I agree with everything Joel said, all of it. And specifically on Core, creators do retain the rights to any creative IP that they create on Core and bring to the platform. We retain the rights of the actual 3D models that we provide, like Rote. But any game concept or IP that you create and bring to the platform, you retain the rights to. You give us a license to publish it, obviously, so that we can let other people play it, or else no one else would be able to play it. But yeah, that's actually very important to us, and it's part of the whole sort of concept of making it radically accessible.
That's fantastic. Cool. Well,
mod problem. You make a big GTA mod on it, and you make it too good. Someone's gonna have a problem with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Well,
how dare you follow your dreams, piece of shit.
I think we're over time. So
yeah, that's fine. That's fine. You can edit and do whatever.
Cool. I just want to, before we go, I just want to ask, what should fans of Core and Deadmau5 be looking forward to? What's the roadmap ahead here? What do we got coming?
Yeah, we have a couple dates, and I always rely on Jeremy. I don't know if Jeremy, you're still there. I always rely on Jeremy for the dates. But we have a couple dates coming up. I think in October for Oberhasli and and a couple other announcements that we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, that's how much faith I have in this system, is that we haven't really sat down and discussed what things will look like or what will be in there. Like right now we're going in clean slate and we're already announcing the release date. That's how fucking insane Core is because like I wouldn't do this without considering, okay, environment artists, concepts, sketches, something, anything, please, oh God, do not announce a date without any of that, you know, and we're literally doing this right now, you know, so we're saying, hey, October 14th, and because I'm confident that I don't know, mid-September, we pretty much really get grindy, and I'm doing, 16 hours of, playing around and playing with ideas and stuff like that. But again, I am more than confident that we're going to have a fully functioning, fucking environment with everything working and not having to worry about netcode and this and that, because all the framework's there, and it'll be a really great experience to just bring people in, and then people be like, holy fuck, have you been working on this for like fucking 16 years?
Yes.
And then you tell them, yes, it's your life's work.
Yeah. Someone has. Yeah. Me, myself, no, about 2 weeks. Yeah, or whatever. Yeah.
For sure.
So that's the beauty of Core.
Yeah.
Love it.
Amazing. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. This has been a eye-opening look at what y'all are working on. We appreciate your time. Viewers, we appreciate you watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. You know the damn thing. We love you. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.